Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The House Judiciary Committee is responsible for helping to ensure the rule of law. Unfortunately, the actions of this committee chairman in ignoring a bipartisan congressional subpoena has hurt the ability of this committee to get information and hurt the rule of law. It is a height of hypocrisy for the chairman of this committee to try to enforce a contempt subpoena against Merrick Garland when this chairman himself ignored a bipartisan congressional subpoena. Now, I've been to a number of proceedings in my time in Congress and in the state legislature that have been relatively stupid. But this proceeding goes beyond stupidity. It is a waste of taxpayer resources. Why is that? Because we have the transcript. We have the transcript of the interview between Special Counsel Robert Hur and President Biden. There's no evidence whatsoever that this transcript was made up, that it's fake, that it's been doctored. This transcript was produced by Robert Hur's office. Robert Hur was appointed by Donald Trump. He is a Republican appointee. The notion that somehow this transcript is fake is a wild, insane conspiracy theory. You know what I think is really going on? Joe Biden stutters. He's always had a stuttering problem. He was made fun of as a child because he stuttered. He was bullied as a kid because he stuttered. He overcame stuttering to become president of the United States. And Republicans in the past have used his stuttering to smear him. I think that's what they want to do again with this audio. I think that is despicable. And if Republicans are going to go low, I am going to punch back. So let's talk about Donald Trump. I agree with the Republican from New Jersey who said if a person cannot stand trial, he should not be president of the United States. Donald Trump has fallen asleep multiple times at his own criminal trial. I am a former prosecutor. I can tell you that is not normal. I think there may be some physical and mental health issues that should be investigated. I'm going to tell you what people in the courtroom are writing about Donald Trump falling asleep. Here's a reporter who has been observing this. One reporter observed, quote, that Donald Trump has nodded off a few times, his mouth going slack and his head drooping onto his chest, end quote. Another reporter said, quote, that Donald Trump slowly dropped his head. His eyes closed, it jerked back upward, he adjusts himself, then his head droops again, he straightens up, leaning back, his head droops for a third time, he shakes his shoulders, eyes closed still, his head drops, end quote. If a person is so weak and feeble, if Donald Trump is so weak and feeble, he cannot stay awake at his own criminal trial, he can't be president of the United States. So instead of going around trying to smear different people, why don't we work on a bipartisan basis on issues that matter to the American people? Like, how about let's do a bipartisan hearing and let's do some bills to fix our broken immigration system. But the Republicans here don't want to do that. They don't want to work on a bipartisan basis. They don't want to fix this. Why? Because Donald Trump told them not to. Well, okay, so how about another issue? Let's talk about high prices. Prices are high. We did get a good report yesterday that inflation has now slowed down. That is good, but prices are still high. Why don't we work on a bipartisan basis to look at price gouging? We have companies making record profits. They're gouging consumers. Let's have a hearing on that. Why don't we have a hearing on that? Because Republicans don't want to fix this issue. They want it as a campaign issue. Okay, then how about let's do a topic that isn't a campaign issue. Artificial intelligence has now become prevalent in many places. It could have privacy implications. It could do amazing things. It could also harm us in a variety of ways in terms of bias and so on. Why don't we do a hearing on this in this committee? Why don't we do that? Instead, we're here doing this stupid stuff to try to get audio of a transcript we already have. And it gets even worse than that. There is a second committee. The Oversight Committee is going to do an exact same hearing on this contempt proceeding. Let me just put in that, you know what, at least the chairman of that committee did not ignore a congressional bipartisan subpoena. It might be more appropriate for that committee to do it, and we should end this proceeding right now. I yield back.